but if you are in the market for this, you've been thinking about it, I would definitely get it 50% off. You're not going to get a better deal. And then we have all of the open wheel race cars here, all of the F1 inspired race cars. These are on sale for 25% off. So this isn't a big discount, and that's why I wouldn't recommend buying them, because you can get these vehicles throughout the year. Not often, but we have had these on sale for 30% off. So coming in at 25% off, it just doesn't seem like great of a deal for me. So for that reason, I'm not going to be getting them. I already own a few of them. But if you don't care about the extra 5% discount or anything like that, then sure. I don't know when they're going to be on sale again. So if you want them, you got loads of extra cash, go ahead and buy it. This is by far the smallest discount we have this Black Friday. So moving on to the San Andreas Super Autos. We have the Classy, Vigero, ZX or ZX convertible. This one is 50% off. So again, if you've been wanting to buy this, I would definitely recommend it right now. You're not going to get a better deal than this. It may go on sale for 30% off throughout this year or the upcoming year, but you're not going to get it for 50% off again, at least until this time next year. And by then, we're going to have GTA 6 anyway, aren't we? So you're probably not going to want to play this game. But this is something, if you're trying to collect all the cars, or if you wanted this car, I would definitely recommend buying it. 50% off is a great deal for this. I'm not going to be buying it because, as I said in the beginning, I have so many cars that I don't use. I'm not trying to collect all the cars. I like to buy cars that I really like, or that I want to drive around and enjoy and look at, and this just isn't one of them. And as I'm saying it, I may have purchased this when it originally came out just for a video, but I haven't used it since. And if it wasn't for that video, I probably wouldn't have bought it anyway. But it is a great discount, don't forget. So if you are somebody that's trying to collect it, buy it and want it, definitely get it. And that's actually the only one in Southern San Andreas Super Autos. Surprising, since we have like 35 cars on sale, but a lot of them are removed, and a lot of them are going to be right here in Warstock. But before we get to Warstock, let's go to Elite Travel. So we have these same discounts last Black Friday, and honestly, again, unless you're trying to purchase all of them in game, I wouldn't buy them because I wouldn't use them, but I did buy one of them we'll talk about here in a second. But at 50% off, we have the Swift. It's going to be 1.5 on sale for $750. You can choose two different liveries for this. Again, to me, this is pointless, but if you're trying to collect them, I would say get it because it's 50%. You're not going to get a better discount than this. But as far as just owning these, it seems pointless to me. And also the Swift Deluxe. Again, these are just flex vehicles, right? It's like, oh, I got the Swift Deluxe. It's a $5 million helicopter that I'll never use, but I got it because I have money. But this is also 50%. I'm not going to be buying it. But if you have...
One and online cash loan now. Download now.
Before we get to Warstock, let's go to Elite Travel. So we have these same discounts last Black Friday, and honestly, again, unless you're trying to purchase all of them in game, I wouldn't buy them because I wouldn't use them. But I did buy one of them we'll talk about here in a second. But if...
One and online cash loan now. Download now.
Off, we have the Swift. It's going to be 1.5 on sale for $750. You can choose two different liveries for this. Again, to me, this is pointless, but if you're trying to collect them, I would say get it because it's 50%. You're not going to get a better discount than this. But as far as just owning these, it seems pointless to me. And also the Swift Deluxe. Again, these are just flex vehicles, right? It's like, oh, I got the Swift Deluxe. It's a $5 million helicopter that I'll never use, but I got it because I have money. But this is also 50%. I'm not going to be buying it. But if you have money and you have at least 20 million put aside for the DLC, and you're like, I just want it, then go ahead. You're not going to get a better deal. Same thing for the Luxor. It's typically 1.6 on sale for $812, 50% off. And then the Luxor Deluxe. I do have this vehicle. I think I paid $10 million for it. But again, it's just a flex vehicle. And it's not even that I try flexing it. It's just something that it's just so stupid that I had to buy it. And I've never flown it. 10 million on sale for $5 million. So if you want it, saving $5 million on something is incredible. But even at $5 million, this is an absolute waste of money. But if you just want to ball and buy this thing, go ahead and do it. You're not going to get a better discount ever on this. Maybe at the end of the life cycle of GTA 5 Online, they'll put it on sale for like 80% off. I don't know. But at 50% off, if you want to get it, but it's worth it. And don't even bother going over to Benny's. He doesn't care about your Black Friday deal. He doesn't participate in this, okay? There's nothing in Benny's on sale. Same thing with Arena War. They don't care about you and your discount. And boats. Surprisingly as well, we got no boats on sale, but we could be getting, as you guys know, we're not going to get it for 50% off again, at least until this time next year. And by then, we're going to have GTA 6 anyway, aren't we? So you're probably not going to want to play this game. But this is something, if you're trying to collect all the cars, or if you wanted this car, I would definitely recommend buying it. 50% off is a great deal for this. I'm not going to be buying it because, as I said at the beginning, I have so many cars that I don't use. I'm not trying to collect all the cars. I like to buy cars that I really like, or that I want to drive around and enjoy and look at, and this just isn't one of them. And as I'm saying it, I may have purchased this when it originally came out just for a video, but I haven't used it since. If it wasn't for that video, I probably wouldn't have bought it anyway. But it is a great discount, don't forget. So if you are somebody who's trying to collect them and buy it and want it, definitely get it. And that's actually the only one in Southern San Andreas Super also. Surprising, since we have like 35 cars on sale, but a lot of them are removed, and a lot of them are going to be right here in Warstock. But before we get to Warstock, let's go to Elite Travel. So we had these same discounts last Black Friday, and honestly, again, unless you're trying to purchase all of them in game, I wouldn't buy them, so I wouldn't use them all. But I did buy one of them, we'll talk about here in a second. But at 50% off, we have the Swift. Typically 1.5 on sale for $750. You can choose 2 different liveries for this. Again, for me, this is pointless, but if you're trying to collect them, I would say get it, because it's 50%. You're not going to get a better discount than this. But as far as just owning these, it's pointless to me. And also the Swift Deluxe. Again, these are just flex vehicles, right? It's like, oh, I got the Swift Deluxe. It's a $5 million helicopter that I'll never use, but I got it because I have money. But this is also 50%. I'm not going to be buying it. But if you have money and you have at least 20 million put aside for the DLC, and you're like, I just want it, then go ahead. You're not going to get a better deal. Same thing for the Luxor. It's typically 1.6 on sale for 812, 50% off. And then the Luxor Deluxe. I do have this vehicle. I think I paid 10 million for it. But again, this is just a flex vehicle. And it's not even that I tried flexing it. It's just something that it's so stupid that I have to buy it, and I've never flown it. 10 million on sale for 5 million. So if you want it, saving 5 million on something is incredible. But even at 5 million, this is an absolute waste of money. But if you just want a ball and buy this thing, go ahead and do it. You're not going to get a better discount ever on this. Maybe at the end of the life cycle of GTA 5 online, they'll put it on sale for like 80% off. I don't know. But at 50% off, if you want to get it, but it's worth it. And don't even bother going up to Benny's. He doesn't care about your Black Friday deal. He doesn't participate in this, okay? There's nothing in Benny's on sale. Same thing with Arena War. They don't care about you and your discounts. And boats, surprisingly as well. We have no boats on sale, but we could be getting, as you guys know, if we hit that 20 trillion, we get the free fleet boat, which is brand new. Which it's not. It's been in the game for a while. Since GTA 3, to be exact. It's been in GTA 5 since the beginning. You just have never been able to own it. They're going to be giving it for free if we hit 20 trillion. All right, so let's move on to Warstock. And this is the one that I think is most important, because these vehicles rarely go on sale, and when they do, it's usually 25% off or 30% off. So getting a lot of these at 50% off is huge. But let's take a look at what I think about them. So first things first, we have the weaponized Canada. Now this is a vehicle that I think was brought into the game because of the community. A lot of people in the community, I think it was Gillymaster actually, I'm not sure, were basically rallying behind this idea of this vehicle. They brought it into the game, and it is a really cool helicopter. I personally prefer the Buzzard. I do own this vehicle, and at 50% off, this is a great time to buy it. I'm always a big fan of these weaponized helicopters. They're great for just throwing around, grinding out missions and things like that. The Buzzard isn't on sale, so that would have been my preference if I had to pick between the two. But at 50% off, if you don't have it, it is great, but if you have the Buzzard already, I just pick the Buzzard. Now this one, the F-160 Araju, or Raju, however you want to pronounce it, a great vehicle. Incredible for grinding out, especially like hangar missions. If you're doing those solo, you're trying to source cargo, it's a great vehicle for that. One of, if not the fastest vehicle in the game. It's incredible handling. The only downside to this is it is 30% off. So this is something that you most likely will get on sale throughout the year at 30% off. So it's not like a 50% off where you have to buy it now and pay the consequences later. It is 30, so you'll probably be able to get it later. But even at 30%, this is a great vehicle to purchase. I don't think you're going to get a better deal than that anytime in the next year. So if you don't own one of these, I would definitely recommend this to be on your list first. Next up, we have the Torador, which again is a great vehicle, specifically if you're doing things or if you do things with other people. This is a 4-door submarine car, a submersible car, however you want to go about it. So it's the only one that you can do this with, you can go on the ground or the water and do this sort of stuff with. By only one, I mean only 4-door. I don't own it. I'm not gonna. Actually, I do own it, but I would. I don't. I say I would buy it. 50% off is a great discount. It's still 2.1 million though. But this is a fan favorite. A lot of people love this car. Swear by this car. Weaponized. It has, well, you can see there, weaponized boost capability, amphibious. So even if you think maybe you'll use it in the future, but you wouldn't use it now, I would get it at 50% off. But only as all of these if you have the extra.
Someone said that this lineup of mine took me at least 30K bucks. Did they ever download it yet? That's ridiculous. In this game, you can just log in to get 100 draws. Enter the gift code VIP666 to get ample upgrade resources. And a 5-star hero is guaranteed within 10 draws. For only half an hour, Lancelot, Zeus, and Satan are all mine. Forming an all-star lineup would be an easy job. If you can get all of them, it's okay. Log in for 7 days in a row, and you'll get a hero selection chest for free. Select a hero, clear maps to gather resources, and go to draw cards. Making an all-star lineup would be just as easy.
Money. Hope you'll think you'll get good use out of it. 50% off is a great deal. You're not going to get it again. So if you want it, definitely get it. The B11 Strike Force. I don't own this, and I'm not going to be buying it. It is great. I've flown this thing around. It's fun. It's nimble. But I just don't need it. I don't need it. I have other things that I prefer, so I'm not going to be buying it. And this is 35% off. This isn't the 50% off, but it is 35. So it's a little more than your typically get, but it's just not for me. Next up, we have the Deluxo. Now, I don't use this car very often. I own it. I think everyone should own it. It's a fun car. It's a cool car. I mean, it's a DeLorean. It's from Back to the Future. It's fun. It's, I feel like you can't go Black Friday. Free police boat, which is brand new, which it's not. It's been in the game for a while. Since GTA 3, to be exact. But it's been in GTA 5 since the beginning. You just have never been able to own it. They're going to be given it free if we hit the 20 trillion. All right, so let's move on to Warstock. And this is the one that I think is most important because these vehicles rarely go on sale. And when they do, it's usually 25% off or 30% off. So getting a lot of these at 50% off is huge. But let's take a look at what I think about them. So first things first, we have the weaponized Canada. Now this is a vehicle that I think was brought into game because of the community. A lot of people in the community, I think it was Gillymaster actually, I'm not sure, were basically rallying behind this idea of this vehicle. And they brought it into the game, and it is a really cool helicopter. I personally prefer the Buzzard. I do own this vehicle, and at 50% off, this is a great time to buy it. I'm always a big fan of these weaponized helicopters. They're great for just going around, grinding out missions and things like that. The Buzzard isn't on sale, so that would have been my preference if I had pick between the two. But at 50% off, if you don't have it, it is great, but if you have the Buzzard already, I'd just pick the Buzzard. Now this one, the F-160 Araju, or Raju, however you want to pronounce it. A great vehicle. Incredible for grinding out, especially like a hangar mission. If you're doing those solo, you're trying to source cargo, this is a great vehicle for that. One of, if not the fastest vehicle in the game. Incredible handling. The only downside to this is it is 30% off. So this is something that you most likely will get on sale throughout the year at 30% off. So it's not like a 50% off where you have to buy it now and pay the consequences later. It is 30, so you'll probably be able to get it later. But even at 30%, this is a great vehicle to purchase. I don't think you're going to get a better deal than that anytime in the next year. So if you don't own one of these, I would definitely recommend this be on your list first. Next up, we have the Toreador, which again is a great vehicle, specifically if you're doing things or if you do things with other people. This is a 4-door submarine car, a submersible car, however you want to go about it. So it's the only one that you can do this with. You can go on the ground or in the water and do this sort of stuff with. And by only one, I mean only 4-door. I don't own it. I'm not going to, actually I do own it, but I say I wouldn't buy it. It's 50% off. It's a great discount. It's still 2.1 million though. But this is a fan favorite. A lot of people love this car, swear by this car. It's weaponized. It has, well, you can see there, weaponized boost capability, amphibious. So even if you think maybe you'll use it in the future, but you wouldn't use it now, I would get it at 50% off. But only as all of these if you have the extra money. Or if you'll think you'll get good use out of it. 50% off, it's a great deal. You're not going to get it again. So if you want it, definitely get it. The B11 Strike Force. I don't own this, and I'm not going to be buying it. It is great. I've flown this thing around. It's fun. It's nimble. But I just don't need it. I don't need it. I have other things that I prefer, so I'm not going to be buying it. And this is 35% off. This isn't the 50% off, but it is 35, so it's a little more than you'll typically get, but it's just not for me. Next up, we have the Deluxo. Now, I don't use this car very often. I own it. I think everyone should own it. It's a fun car. It's a cool car. I mean, it's a DeLorean. It's from Back to the Future. It's fun, it's exciting, so I would definitely get this at 50% off. I bought this on Black Friday myself a couple of years ago, and it's great. It's great to just own. I feel like you can't have GTA 5 online if you don't own this car. It's just fun. I don't use it often though, so yes, I contradict myself a little bit, but one of the things I did mention earlier is I like to buy things that I enjoy, that I like to look at, that mean something to me, and this is just such an iconic car. That's why I have it, and that's why you should buy it too. Or you should buy it because it's just fun. So you can get it, as you can see right there, with the trade price for 2.1 million instead of 4.3. The full price is 5.7. So definitely get this if you haven't already. You're not going to get a better deal than this one right here. Next up, we have the Stromberg, another amphibious vehicle and also weaponized. Great car. Great car. If you don't have it, get it. Fun to use. If you've never owned one, you can have a bunch of fun with it. And it's only on sale for $937. So this is one of the cars that even, you know, if you're trying to collect them all, you probably already have it. But even if you're not trying to collect all the cars, this is just, it's such a cool car. And for $937,000, you can afford it. Next up, we have the Laser. Now, believe it or not, I don't own the Laser. Not on this account, anyway. And I just wouldn't use it that much. A lot of people like these in GTA Online if you're just trying to troll people or if you're a greaser or something. I don't use it. I have other things I would rather use, like the F-160 Reju. I would much prefer to fly that thing around than fly this thing around. But some people love it. Some people swear by it. It is 35% off once again. It's not the 50% off. If you want it, go ahead and buy it. It's just not something that I would particularly use. I mean, I've got to where I am on this account without buying it, and I don't need it anytime soon. Now we have the Oppressor Mark 1. The Mark 2 is unfortunately not on sale. That's the one everyone would have wanted because it's so expensive these days. It was on sale a few years ago, like I mentioned, but not this year. But anyway, if you want it, you can get it for $1 million if you have the trade price unlocked. So I don't use it, to be honest. Some people love this vehicle. I've seen people swear by this. They're really good at flying it around. But if you're someone like myself who uses the Oppressor Mark 2 all the time, this thing is kind of pointless. Although a lot of fun, if you have the Mark 2, you don't really need it. So for $1 million, like I say, if you have the cash and you want it, go ahead and buy it. 50% off, great deal. You're not going to get a better deal. But if you have the Oppressor Mark 1, I wouldn't worry about it. Or Mark 2, I should say, not the Mark 1. Yeah, and sadly, like I say, the Buzzard isn't on sale, but it is still cheaper than getting the Canada, right? 1.7 million, and it's just great. I absolutely love it. This is 1.7. Canada is almost 1.7. So the Canada is technically cheaper on sale. So some people may be like, oh, well, I can get this cheaper. This is typically 3.3. I just prefer the other one. It's personal preference. To do with that information, what you will. All right, let's move on. The Mammoth Avenger is also on sale. Now, you're going to need this vehicle anyway. If you want to do the Mercenaries, San Andreas Mercenaries DLC that we got, that wasn't great, to be honest with you. But if you want to be able to do all of the DLCs in game, you will have to buy this. It is on sale. This one's 40% off. Just have to double check that it wasn't 50. This is 40% off, so it is a good one to get. But this one ranges, I think it's from like 1.8 to like 6 million, depending on all of the upgrades you do to it. But the operations terminal right down here, which you will need, is also on sale for 40% off. So I would definitely recommend getting this. I mean, it is part of just the DLCs, being able to do DLC missions. So this is something that I would definitely get for 40% off. And if you haven't upgraded all of these things already, jump in this week and upgrade them. Should also get 40% off. I mentioned earlier there was no boats on sale, because I'm an idiot and forgot about the super yacht. So the super yachts are on sale, and it's also 40% million, depending on all of the upgrades you do to it. But the operations terminal right down here, which you will need, is also on sale for 40% off. So I would definitely recommend getting this. I mean, it is part of just the DLCs, being able to do DLC missions. So this is something that I would definitely get. 40% off. And if you haven't upgraded all of these things already, jump in this week and upgrade them. Should also get 40% off. I mentioned earlier there was no boats on sale, because I'm an idiot and forgot about the super yacht. So the super yachts are on sale, and it's also 40% off, like the Avenger. Now, this is one of those ones that I, like the Avenger, would say to purchase, because it comes with a lot of the DLC content, right? Doing the super yacht missions and things like that. You can only do if you own one of these. They are currently on sale. They are very expensive, but you can see on sale, it's 40% off. So if you want to do any upgrades and modifications to it, you're going to get it on sale for 40% off. Purchasing the vehicle is also going to be 40% off. So ignore this upgrade price. I just clicked on some random thing. But you can, all the upgrades and modifications for 40% off, plus purchasing it for 40% off. So again, the only reason I would recommend it is because it's part of DLC content, so it's going to provide you new missions and things to do. Not that I ever personally do them though. I think they are pretty just don't get paid a lot for them. There's other ways to make money in this game, but if you're looking for just something that's fun and something new, maybe you've been playing for a while, you've got bored of everything, you want some new content, purchase the yacht. I think everyone should have one of these by the time 6 comes out, right? So only if you have extra money and you think that you want to take advantage of the missions thing, go ahead and buy it. 40% is not a bad deal. So as far as other vehicles are concerned, a lot of the vehicles this week, as always, are removed. So you can't purchase them through your phone. So if you come on down here to Premium Deluxe Motorsports, we have our first one here, Benefactor Serrano, and this is a removed vehicle, as you know, and it is also on sale 50% off. So you can pick it up at $55,000. I don't own it personally, and as much as I love it, I'm not going to get it because I'm never going to use it, so I'm just going to pass on it. We have the Bullet, which I do already own, and I absolutely love the Bullet, based off the Ford GT, the original Ford GT. I think it's just beautiful. It's a great car, and it's 50% off. So if you want to get it, $77,000. So great price. I already own it, so I'm not going to buy it. If I didn't own it, I would buy it. It's 50% off. I still don't use it very often, but I love the car, so that's why I bought it. The Emperor ETR1. Again, already own it. It's just a beast. It just looks beastly. It seems like a fat, squished little car. You know how you see pictures of your favorite cars, they do like cartoon illustrations and they make short with big wheels. That's just what this thing looks like to me. So I just think it's cool. Never really drive it again. But it is on sale for 50% off. So if you want it, now almost $1 million, so it's still pretty expensive, but it is 50% off. So if you want it, go ahead and buy it. You're not going to get a better deal for it. Again, only get it if you want it, you have extra cash and stuff like that. We're going to need to make some more money though if we're spending it all. The Rapid GT Classic, also 50% off, based off of the old school Aston Martin. Beautiful car. Again though, already own it myself. On sale 50% off for $467. So again, if this is a personal preference thing, if you've got the money, buy it. 50% off, you're not going to get a better deal than this. But just make sure basically you have 20 million for DLC. And then this is also 50% off. Canis Kalahari. Again, not going to get a better deal than this. It's on sale for 20 grand. I mean, 20 grand, that's nothing. So if you want it, go ahead and buy it. But you're never going to use it, let's be honest. Also, a shout out to the Jassy Weaponized Ignis, which is on console. I'm recording this video on PC, so I can't show it to you. This is also 50% off, so it is another vehicle that I would definitely recommend if you're on console. An incredible vehicle. Definitely go ahead and pick this up if you don't own it already. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is not a vehicle, it's businesses, right? So these are going to be 35% off. These are typically, your best you'll get is usually 30%. So 35%, you are going to be saving some money for yourself if you don't already own them. The first one is Salvage Yard Roxy. Now, if you don't own one of these, I'm sure you already know what a salvage yard is, but they're on sale for 35% off. You can do the tow truck business with these. You can do the robberies with these, so you can, make it's like 300,000 per robbery. There's 3 of them. You can only do them once a week, but there's also times of the year where they're claimable. And what I mean by that, you've got claimable vehicles. So I show it in my weekly updates when they come available. There could be like one of the cars that week. Once you've done the robbery, you can claim it for yourself. 10,000 if you have a document forgery office. If you don't, 20,000. Still, 20 grand for a lot of these cars is amazing. That itself is a good reason to buy it. But anyway, they're 35% off if you don't already own them.
Alam mo ba na pwede kang magdasal sa loob ng isang minuto? Gaano ka makabisi, ano ba lang yung pinagdadaanan, ano ba lang yung trabaho mo, nasaan ka man, laging may panalangin na para sa iyo. Subukan ng Halo, ang #1
one. Definitely recommend getting it. The tow trucks, as you can see right here, it would have been cool if they had the tow truck on sale, so people could upgrade from the Vita to this one, which is no difference in them, to be honest, just visually. So the upgrades and modifications for this don't work, but for the actual business itself, it is 35% off. So if you don't own it, definitely recommend it. And then same thing for one of my favorite businesses in the game. This goes back to earlier when I was talking about making money as a solo player, especially trying to get ready for this 20 million DLC we have coming out. That is this, the hangar. So if you don't own a hangar and you're not going to be doing a lot of missions, you just want somewhere to store your vehicles, getting them down here, the LS or the Los Santos International Airport is a great location because it's close to where you're going to be doing most of your gameplay. But if you're somebody that's going to be grinding out these missions, I would definitely recommend, if you don't already own one, upgrading one of the ones up here. Not only is it a better location for doing like source missions, cell missions, but you also don't have to worry about flying over it. You know, if you don't own a hangar here, every time you fly over it, you trigger the ones with level, or you have to fly all the way around it. It's just a pain. Owning this in itself, or just that itself, I should say, being able to fly over this is worth paying for this upgrade. These are also 35% off. And with the hanger, unlike the salvage yard, this includes all upgrades and modifications. So if you want to upgrade it, or if you've been waiting to upgrade it, you can now upgrade it 35% off. It's an incredible solo business. I have a lot of videos on my channel. You can just search Subscribe Stock Code Hanger Guide and you'll see those. But it's a great business. If you don't own it, definitely recommend buying that this week. And lastly, as far as businesses on sale, we have multiple businesses on sale. That's pretty good. But the reason I left this till last is the arcade. Great business, but it's 30% off. So this is something that we typically...
Over the last 11 years, GTA Online has become the golden child for Rockstar Games due to the insane amount of money it's generated through shark cards. But when it comes to online, Rockstar weren't the only ones to make a bunch of money. Money glitches have become the most popular exploit in the game's history since almost day one, and there are new methods found almost every day. So today, we are going to go through GTA Online's history to find the most damaging and most insane money glitches the game has ever faced, and to also figure out how Rockstar went about trying to deal with them. We start this journey off on the same month of the game's launch when the very first money glitch was ever found, which also ended up being the longest lasting money glitch in the game's history, the duplication glitch. This exploit has been the cornerstone to most money glitches that have been found within the game, and the first one was discovered just 3 weeks after the game's launch on October 25th of 2013. The duplication glitch is exactly what the name implies, duplicating one of your cars so you can keep the original and sell the duplicated one. And the better your car, the more powerful this glitch was. While Rockstar is quick to patch certain methods of this glitch, a new one is found almost immediately, which is why this exploit has been able to last over 11 years, making it easily the longest lasting money glitch in GTA Online. Just a few months later, in December of 2013, we had arguably the most destructive period the game has ever seen as far as money exploits go, and it's famously known today as the DNS code exploit. Originally found by prolific modder ECB2, DNS codes allowed people to gain quite literally trillions of dollars in GTA Online almost instantly. And this is during a time where the most expensive item was only 10 million, which was the Type Z. By changing the DNS server in your console settings, you could effectively change all the money values for everything in GTA Online. For example, robbing a convenience store normally gains you about $2,000, but with DNS codes enabled, it would instead make you roughly 1.7 billion. And it was exactly the same for every way of making money in online. As you can probably tell from that comparison alone, this is by far the most monumental money glitch ever found, and is something that a lot of people reminisce on to this day. And the only reason that this was possible in the first place was because Rockstar forgot to encrypt the file they used for all of the game's money values. In fact, this exploit was so bad that Rockstar even disabled shark card sales for a period during the DNS code exploit. About a month later, Rockstar would patch the DNS code exploit and just ban any player that still attempted to use one. Rockstar knew they couldn't allow people to have this much money, so this glitch would go down in history as the first time that Rockstar would try money wiping people's accounts, and they did it quite effectively. However, there were a few smart people who knew that something like this may be happening. A few players used the insane amount of money they had at the time to buy a bunch of maxed out adders so they could sell them after the money wipes had been sent. This would eventually become the meta for all money glitches in the future for those who were worried about losing all of their glitch money. But for some glitches on this list, not even that would... This next glitch is another wild exception in the term of money glitches, and it's the single player to multiplayer glitch. This glitch was a lot more popular in the early days of GTA Online because the steps were a lot easier to do. But now it has since become a prerequisite for most other glitches found later on, like the director mode and online glitch, and even one of the most devastating glitches found in recent years that we will cover in a bit. However, with that said, this glitch was still used to make money, and it was used by bringing other cars from single player into online, which could then be sold. But it had some other major features too. The big feature that makes this glitch
Hey boys, it's Arnott. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how the MC businesses work in GTA Online. I'm going to explain how much money they make, I'm going to explain the best locations, and everything else that you need to know. The Bikers DLC has been out for nearly a decade at this point in the GTA Online timeline, yet still to this day, a lot of people have no idea how it works, or have some pretty big misconceptions with the businesses from the Motorcycle Club. In today's video, I will give you an in-depth breakdown of the businesses found within the MC, as well as break down the Motorcycle Clubhouse business itself. So to get things started, before you can do anything with the actual MC businesses, you will first need to purchase an MC Clubhouse from the Maze Bank Foreclosures website. Now, there are 12 different locations to choose from for this initially crucial part of the business. The good thing about these are that no matter where you have most of your other businesses centered around, there's likely an MC Clubhouse very close by. I personally keep most of my businesses in the downtown area, or at least as close as I can get. So for me, the Pillbox Hill location makes the most sense to have my MC Clubhouse. Not that I go there very often, but this one is very centralized, which I do enjoy. Now for most players, you're not going to spend a whole lot of time here, but on the off chance that you do, before purchasing one of these, make sure you watch until the end of the video, because I am going to go over some more important information that may sway your decision as to which location is correct for you to choose for your MC Clubhouse. Now when you're actually upgrading your MC Clubhouse, you'll see several different upgrade options. Now the only one out of all of these that is worth purchasing is the custom bike shop, because nearly everything else is cosmetic except for the gun locker, but the gun locker is available in other places that are a little bit better and cheaper as well. Now this particular custom bike shop upgrade will allow you to not only customize your own personal motorcycles out of the 10 bike garage that comes with the clubhouse, but also it will allow you to customize and deliver customer bikes similar to how the auto shop's customer deliveries work. Now we're going to talk more about this shortly, but beyond the custom bike shop upgrade, nothing else really matters and is basically all cosmetic. There is an optional weapon locker which will allow you to create a custom weapon loadout, but this likely isn't worth purchasing because there is a much better version of it that exists within the agency anyways. So once you have the custom bike shop, you can go ahead and purchase whatever location you have selected. However, do keep in mind we're going to talk more about this aspect of the business coming up next, so hold off on purchasing one just yet. Within the clubhouse, there are multiple ways to make money, and one of the ones is the biker bar that is found within the clubhouse. You can launch a resupply mission by talking to the lady behind the bar counter, and this mission will get you to travel to a location, pick up
Longhand Online Cash Loan App. Get it today.
van with booze in it and drive it back to your MC Clubhouse. But do keep in mind that the more damage the van takes, the less supply you will actually deliver to the business. For this, you'll be paid $20,000. However, it isn't right away, so do keep that in mind. The money can be collected from the office within the MC Clubhouse. Now, if you haven't really realized, this is a pretty terrible way to make money, unless you're pretty new to GTA Online and don't have much to begin with. Even still, I'd say you're better off doing nearly anything else. So, avoid the biker bar resupplies. Not that great. Next up, we have the custom bike shop deliveries. And as I mentioned earlier, purchasing the custom bike shop will allow you to make a little bit of extra money with your MC Clubhouse. Customers' bikes will show up every 48 minutes roughly, and when customizing a bike, there are certain things that the customers will want done. However, you can ignore this entirely and just fully upgrade the bike. This can result in the customer giving you a bonus or taking a small amount getting to the drop-off destination. The faster and take your chances with the bonus. To get the $10,000 it cost you to begin the service back from the bike. Plus, you can also get a bonus of either $2,500 or $5,000 for the delivery. So, pretty cool. And the last way to make money with the MC Clubhouse is by completing Clubhouse contracts. These used to be a very good way to make money if you had multiple people in an MC. However, by today's standards, they are honestly more trouble than they're worth. There are 13 total contracts that you can complete, but only 3 will show up at a single time on the MC Clubhouse board. Out of the 13 contracts, 8 of them can be completed as a solo player, while 5 of them will require, at minimum, 1 other person at least to be in your MC, and some of them will require even more than that. Good luck finding somebody to help you with this, because nobody really joins MCs anymore. Overall, I would say to avoid all of these contracts, and there are much better things that you can do with your time to make money. For some final thoughts on the MC Clubhouse, as I stated earlier in the video, those are the different ways to make money in the Clubhouse that you should consider before choosing your Clubhouse location. And depending on if you plan to do any of them, you could potentially save some money by purchasing a cheaper Clubhouse in a worse location if you don't plan to go there very much. Now, out of those 3, the only one that I would consider even doing is the custom bike shop deliveries, because that can actually make you some pretty decent money. In fact, it actually makes you almost better money than the auto shop's version of it. So do keep that in mind and let that be the decision maker. If you're going to do the customer bike deliveries, you should choose a location for your MC Clubhouse that's close by, that is convenient for you to go to. However, if you're not planning to do it, you can choose the cheapest Clubhouse up in Paleto Bay, because all you're going to have to do at that location is just purchase the rest of the MC businesses, which is what the rest of this guide is going to be about. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into that. Now, when choosing your business locations for your actual MC businesses, there are 5 different businesses that you can purchase, and these can only be purchased using the computer found within the office of the MC Clubhouse. And there are 3 different general areas you can choose to buy in for each of the businesses, with 4 total locations for each business that are found within these areas. Sandy Shores is the cheapest option, Paleto Bay is the second most expensive, and Los Santos is the most expensive. Now, I would absolutely advise you to avoid purchasing anything in Paleto Bay. It is simply so far out of the way that it is definitely just extremely inconvenient, while also giving you no benefit because the sale locations will just be in Los Santos. Now, for most players, generally, I would say that the cheapest locations in Sandy Shores are just fine. For most players, that will be your best location pick. However, there is a way to optimize it for those who plan to grind MC businesses, and the way that you can do this is by buying the weed farm in Los Santos as well as the coke lockup in Los Santos, while also having your meth lab and counterfeit cash factory in Sandy Shores. The thinking behind this is that you will sell from Los Santos at either weed or coke, then finish your sale mission in Sandy Shores, go to counterfeit, sell to Los Santos, and then repeat with the other 2 businesses. You can see on screen I've got this awesome graphic that I drew. Hopefully that helps to make you guys understand what I'm talking about here. Now, doing things this way does help with efficiency, but honestly I think going for the cheapest option is the best bet for 90% of players, because most of you guys realistically are not going to be doing this. Now, the MC businesses do have a bit of a relationship with the nightclub business, which is regarded as one of the very best businesses. On screen I've got this awesome graphic that I drew. Hopefully that helps to make you guys understand what I'm talking about here. Now, doing things this way does help with the efficiency, but honestly I think going for the cheapest option is the best bet for 90% of players, because most of you guys realistically are not going to be doing this. Now, the MC businesses do have a bit of a relationship with the nightclub business, which is regarded as one of the very best businesses in the entire game. The MC businesses can be purchased exclusively for this purpose, and you can set them up in your nightclub basement business. Now, if you're purchasing them for this reason only, you can simply buy them and set them up and leave them alone. You don't need to do any further upgrades or resupply them at all, and they will produce the same amount of money in the nightclub basement, regardless of upgrades or supplies. If you want to know a little bit more about this and understand how the nightclub works and the relationship between these businesses, I do have a nightclub guide as well as other business guides that I will link in the description down below of this video, so check those out if you're interested. Now, of course, we have to go over the upgrades for the MC businesses, and the business upgrades are very, very important. They really do mark the difference between running a profitable business versus a non-profit. There are 3 upgrades that are possible to do for each of the MC businesses and each location. First of all, we have the equipment upgrade. This will improve the efficiency of the supplies you get for the businesses, allowing you to make more product out of less supplies, while also producing product much faster and increasing the overall value of the product itself. Next up, we have the staff upgrade. This increases the number of workers within each business, allowing for faster production, but also improving the product quality, which also increases the value of the product itself. Again, lastly, we have the security upgrade. Now, this decreases the likelihood of your business getting raided by installing security personnel and security equipment. Now, in my experience, it barely seems to work. You still get raided all the time, but if you get raided as often as you do with security, you'll get raided even more without security upgrades. So I do think it is worth purchasing. However, you can kind of hold off on it for a little while, I do think, and purchase it as you feel you need it. However, something to keep in mind is that when you're not registered as an MC president, your MC businesses cannot be raided. So keep this in mind. You can get raided as often as you do with security, you'll get raided even more without security upgrades. So I do think it is worth purchasing. However, you can kind of hold off on it for a little while, I do think, and purchase it as you feel you need it. However, something to keep in mind is that when you're not registered as an MC president, your MC businesses cannot be raided. So keep this in mind, because you may be able to skip the security upgrade in that aspect as well. You only register as an MC when you are actually in your business and going to sell. Next up, we have to talk about supplying your MC businesses to run. And obviously, you're going to have to do this to be able to make them. Also improving the product quality, which also increases the value of the product itself. Again, lastly, we have the security upgrade. Now, this decreases the likelihood of your business getting raided by installing security personnel and security equipment. Now, in my experience, it barely seems to work. You still get raided all the time, but if you get raided as often as you do with security, you'll get raided even more without security upgrades. So I do think it is worth purchasing, however, security equipment. Now, in my experience, it barely seems to work. You still get raided all the time, but if you get raided as often as you do with security, you'll get raided even more without security upgrades. So I do think it is worth purchasing. However, you can kind of hold off on it for a little while, I do think, and purchase it as you feel you need it. However, something to keep in mind is that when you're not registered as an MC president, your MC businesses cannot be raided. So keep this in mind, because you may be able to skip the security upgrade in that aspect as well. You only register as an MC when you are actually in your business and going to sell. Next up, we have to talk about supplying your MC businesses to run. And obviously, you're going to have to do this to be able to make product. Now, there are a few different methods to supply your businesses. The first of which is the newest by far, and that is by raiding stash houses. Now, this is a little bit temperamental because you can't guarantee where your supplies will be delivered unless you have some businesses fully supplied and others not fully supplied. So if you want to supply your MC businesses, you got to have your bunker and your asset lab completely full, and you'll be guaranteed to supply MC businesses. So that is pretty cool. You can't guarantee which business they will be delivered to, so do keep that in mind. Now, only one stash house will spawn per real life day in GTA Online, so this is good to do as part of a daily routine, but you can't rely on it to do all of your supplies for you. You are still going to have to use the other 2 methods, and I would only recommend using one of them. Next up, we have stealing supplies. My advice is to never, ever steal supplies. You will have to resupply each business a minimum of 2 times to get full supplies. As a matter of fact, most of the time it will take 3 resupply missions, particularly if you are playing as a solo. These missions are horribly tedious and also take a very long time to complete. Plus, you will need to complete them for each of your businesses. This means a minimum of 8 resupply missions to supply the 4 businesses that you should have. Potentially even 12 resupply missions. Now, this is a horrible waste of time, and I would highly recommend not doing this. The third way of getting supplies is by purchasing them, and this is the main way that I would recommend resupplying your MC businesses. Now, it will cost you $75,000 for each business every time you do a full resupply. But you will easily make your money back when you sell, and in the time that it would cost you to go and steal the supplies for all of your businesses, you could pretty easily make the $300 grand it's going to cost you to purchase supplies back from doing other activities. Time is money, ladies and gentlemen. Please do not ever forget that. Do not waste your time stealing supplies. I'm telling you, you can get way further by just purchasing them and going and making money. while the businesses that you've resupplied are also making you money. Next up, we got to talk about selling your businesses. Now, with all of the sale missions for the MC businesses in GTA Online, there are some staple vehicles that you will be nearly guaranteed to get in the long. You play and use your MC businesses, the more familiar you will become with them, which is unfortunate. These are the vehicles that are available to get in every single business as a sale vehicle. First up, we have trash trucks, then we have everyone's favorite, which are of course delivery vans. We also have Dodo seaplanes, buzzards, and rib boats, as well as occasionally you will get baggers. You'll get 4 of them, and you'll have to deliver them to 4 separate trucks on the map. Now, interestingly though, the Coke Lockup, Counterfeit Cash, and Weed Farm businesses all have the possibility to get a unique sale vehicle like a Phantom or Gang Burrito that will allow all deliveries to be made from one single vehicle. So those 3 businesses are definitely the best in that aspect because you can get a single vehicle sale, which is really nice. So naturally, when you're selling, it is best to have a few friends help you out. However, I know a lot of you guys play by yourselves, which can cause a bit of a hiccup when you're going to do this, especially when selling a full business and getting a 3-vehicle sale mission. Now, luckily, very recently, Rockstar has actually increased the total amount of time you get for selling by 50% for people who are selling solo. This means that on the previous 30-minute sale missions, you'll now get 45 minutes to complete your sale. Now, this is only available when you are selling as a solo player, though, sadly. Even if you have just one other player with you, this becomes completely void and you will still only get the 30 minutes. Now, luckily, there is a way to reduce your chances of getting delivery vans or trash trucks, and this can be attempted by parking a large vehicle, like an acid lab or a mobile operation center, in the spot where the vans will usually spawn. Now, I parked my Cerberus and my MOC here, and as you can see, when I go to launch the sale mission, I do get planes. Now, this is not guaranteed to work every time. The vehicles can spawn in secondary locations, but it will definitely increase your chances to get planes, helicopters, or boats, or maybe even daggers, just something that doesn't spawn in the 2 regular spots where the vans or the trash trucks normally would. Now, the last thing to consider is that when you go to sell your businesses, you will have 2 locations to choose from. One will pay significantly more than the other, and the one that has the higher value is always the one that you should sell to. There are never any exceptions to this. Always sell to the place that is further away. That is the rule. Next up, of course, we do have to talk about selling in a solo lobby versus a public lobby. Now, like I said earlier, the sale mission time limit increases if you are selling by yourself. And if you are selling by yourself, I would only ever recommend selling in a session by yourself. The risk to get the high demand bonus as a solo player is not even close to worth it. The Motorcycle Club doesn't get access to Ghost Org the same way that the CEO organization does. Additionally, the MC sale vehicles are all absolutely terrible with only a few exceptions. And the other problem is that they don't have much at all in the way of armor, making them an even easier target for griefers than most sale vehicles. Now, if you have friends and you want to try selling in a public lobby to get the high demand bonus, I guess that's fine. I still think it's better to guarantee yourself the money in a private session than it is to risk losing all the money in a public session. But if you think the risk is worth it, then please be my guest, I suppose. Now, of course, we have to go and break down each of the businesses. And to get us started, we have the worst MC business that I do not recommend purchasing in the first place, and that is, of course, the document forgery office. Being that this is an MC business guide, I must at least tell you a little bit about this business, even though I do not recommend purchasing it in the slightest. However, if you are going to, the best location for the document forgery office is the Textile City location near the town square, also known as Discord Plaza, for those of you that know. If you were to fully upgrade this location, it will cost $2,265,000 after you've gone and done the equipment upgrade, the staff upgrade, and the security upgrade. The supplies will cost you $90,000 in total, and it will produce $157,500 worth of product in about 3 hours of time, leaving you with a profit of only $67,500, which is absolutely awful. I guess if you factor in that it doesn't take much time at all to do this, it kind of makes up for it, maybe slow, not really, but you know. Now, of course, you can still do this business. I just wouldn't recommend it because to get your initial investment back, you'll need to complete 33.5 sale missions, and you'll finally start profiting on the 34th sale mission. So keep that in mind. And also, despite the low pay, you still need to deliver 3 vehicles for every full sale. which is absolutely insane. Next business we got to talk about is, of course, the Weed Farm. Now, the Weed Farm, although one of the worst MC businesses, makes the document forgery look absolutely terrible. Now, there are two locations to choose from with the Weed Farm that you will be happy with, one of which is only slightly better than the other, and it does tie back into what I said earlier about selling in Los Santos, going to Sandy Shores, selling in Sandy Shores to Los Santos to Sandy Shores, maybe back and forth. Now, the two that are worth having are the $715,000 San Ciansky Mountain Range location, or of course the downtown Vinewood location for $1,358,500. As I mentioned earlier, depending on the other MC business locations you choose, either one of these locations may suit your setup a little bit better. Now, the upgrades will cost you $1,576,500 on top of either of these prices, bringing the total cost to $2,291,500 for the San Ciansky Mountain Range location and $2,934,500 for the downtown Vinewood location. Supplies will cost you $150,000, and in total it will produce $315,000 worth of product in about 5.5 hours. This will leave you with a relatively nice profit of $165,000. Now, this is significantly better than the document forgery office.
Okay, ready?
It will take longer to produce, but you will still make a good amount of money from operating this business. In total, it will take 14 sales to make a profit on the investment for the San Ciansky Mountain Range location, and it will take 18 sales to be profitable on the downtown Vinewood location. This is obviously a significant jump compared to the document forgery office. This business is also possible to get a single vehicle sale mission, as I mentioned earlier, which is an additional bonus to owning it. Next up, we have Counterfeit Cash. The Counterfeit Cash Factory is the third best MC business, and it makes document forgery look even worse. The best location for this business is by far the Grand Sonora Desert location for $845,000. It will cost an additional $1,609,000 to fully upgrade this business for a grand total of $2,454,000. To supply the Counterfeit Cash Factory, it will cost you $150,000, the same as the Weed Farm, except with this business, you'll make $367,500 for a full sale, and it will make that product in 5.5 hours, the exact same as the Weed Farm. This gives you a profit of $217,500 per full sale that you do, which is pretty good. And this means that in only 12 full sale missions, you'll be profitable on the purchase of a Counterfeit Cash Factory. This business is also possible to get a single vehicle sale mission, which again is an added bonus. Next up, we have the Meth Lab. The Meth Lab is the second best MC business in Grand Theft Auto Online. The best spot for this business by far is the Grand Sonora Desert location, similar to the Counterfeit Cash Factory. This one, though, will cost you $910,000 for the initial purchase price and an additional $1,944,500 for the upgrades. The total cost is $2,854,500 for the fully upgraded Grand Sonora Desert Lab. Now, supplies have increased in price and will cost you $165,000 in total, and it will also take longer to produce than any of the other businesses, taking a full 6 hours. However, it will also make significantly more money than the other businesses that we've gone over already, producing $446,250 worth of product in that 6 hours. This gives you a profit of $281,250 per sale. Now, unfortunately, the Meth Lab is the only business other than document forgery that will always be a free vehicle sale mission when you are selling it at full capacity. It does not get access to any special single vehicle missions, sadly. Last but not least, of course, we have the Coke Lockup, and this is by far the best MC business in GTA Online. There are two locations that are worth thinking about, depending again on if you want to use the strategy I showed you at the start of this video. The two locations to consider are the Alamo C location for $975,000 or the Morningwood area for $1,852,500. The upgrades will cost a total of $1,895,000, and this brings the total price for the Alamo C location to $2,870,000 or $3,747,500 for the Morningwood location. The Coke lockup supplies will cost the same as the Meth Lab for $100. Far the best MC business in GTA Online. There are two locations that are worth thinking about, depending again on if you want to use the strategy I showed you at the start of this video. The two locations to consider are the Alamo C location for $975,000 or the Morningwood area for $1,852,500. The upgrades will cost a total of $1,895,000, and this brings the total price for the Alamo C location to $2,870,000 or $3,747,500 for the Morningwood location. The Coke lockup supplies will cost the same as the Meth Lab for $165,000, but it will make $525,000 worth of product in only about 5 hours. The Coke lockup, similar to the Counterfeit Cash Factory as well as weed, does have a chance to give a single vehicle sale mission when selling at maximum capacity. Something else to consider though is that the Coke lockup is also interesting because you can get away with only doing a single resupply for it and then selling immediately once that resupply has been made into product, and you will almost always get a single vehicle sale. This can be a pretty good strategy, and similar to the Counterfeit Cash Factory as well as weed, does have a chance to give a single vehicle sale mission when selling at maximum capacity. Something else to consider though is that the Coke lockup is also interesting because you can get away with only doing a single resupply for it and then selling immediately once that resupply has been made into product, and you will almost always get a single listing because you can get away with only doing a single resupply for it and then selling immediately once that resupply has been made into product, and you will almost always get a single vehicle sale. This can be a pretty good strategy for those of you that play solo and don't want to do a multi-vehicle sale mission. Just supply it once and sell and just rinse and repeat that. Now for those of you who are curious about the high demand bonus and how much money you can make using that, basically add an additional 50%, which is the maximum bonus, to the total sale prices that I've gone over here. So if you're curious to know what you could earn if you feel like risking all your product in a public session, apply that to each final sale price and you will get your answer. Now the final question and the big one is, are the MC businesses worth doing? In my opinion, the MC businesses are worth owning, not necessarily for doing the actual businesses themselves, but for having them available for the nightclub basement. Now the weed farm and anything better than that is worth owning actually to run as a business. Yes, the sale missions completely suck, but the money you can make is pretty undeniable, and when you combine them all together, you can definitely make some pretty awesome money. It will take quite a big investment, both money and time, but I do believe that they are actually still.
Ang inaabangan mo tuwing Pasko, hindi nagbabago. Iba ang sarap ng Paskong Del Monte.
Aabot ka ba sa bedtime niya?
Oo, booking na.
In this video, we're going to be doing a full guide to the MC Clubhouse and all of its businesses that come with it. We're going to be talking about location, which locations you should be purchasing these businesses. We're going to be talking about which businesses you need to purchase and which businesses to not bother with. And then we're going to tell you how to sell these things and if you should even sell them or if you should just sell them to the street dealers. And a little disclaimer, currently this week when you're watching this video, if you're watching it the week that it is released, it is 2 times GTA money and RP to the sale missions for these businesses. So if you're watching this in the future and you're like, well, how come you're making this much money? Everything in this video still applies to you. You're just not going to get 3 times pay. I'm sorry. So yeah, like I say, in this video, we're going to be going over everything. Now, a little disclaimer here at the beginning. I am not a huge fan of the MC Clubhouse or the businesses. There is a few things you can do to make money when it's double pay, but for the most part, I just think the sell missions are awful. Can't really, shouldn't sell these in a public lobby, and they just take forever. Unless you've got friends that are playing with you, or if you're in like a lobby just with full of friends, you just don't want to be selling these in a public lobby, man. The sell vehicles are too slow. The sell distances is too far and the risk is too high. So I personally stay away from these businesses. But there is a lot of things that they can be useful for, which we're going to go over today, including the nightclub. So first and foremost, let's jump into it. So let's start off by going over the thing that most people seem to be confused about, which is the 2 times pay of the biker bar resupply mission. Let's talk about it. Alright guys, so like I say, first of all, we won't go over the businesses and the locations and all of that stuff. It's coming up in this video, don't worry. But I wanted to talk about the resupply because I think a lot of people in the comments of my video recently were asking about that. So let's go ahead and have a little chat here. So you can see when you get up to it, it says resupply bar. So let's go ahead and click resupply bar. So this is how you do it. Now, once you do the resupply, it's kind of like, you know how, I've talked about this a lot, but a lot of businesses have the same thing where ammunition, your CEO office, like last week, we had to do the supply run. So we're doing the same thing again here. So let me just pull out my oppressor. Let's head on over to the location. Again, more similar to the CEO office, because the CEO office you have to go pick it up too, versus the bunker where it's right there and you just have to drive it and sell it. This one is a little bit unique though, but we'll get to that here in a second. Alright, here we are at the van. Let's go ahead and take this.
So this week in Grand Theft Auto Online, we've got double cash and double RP in all of our motorcycle clubhouse businesses. So now would be definitely a good time to be taking advantage of that situation of being able to make millions of dollars every single day by dealing with these MC clubhouse businesses. And in this video in particular, I want to show you how to get the one vehicle sell mission, where you only have one vehicle and you don't have to have a whole bunch of vehicles that it's going to end up giving you. Sometimes in the long run, for me personally, I don't really care too much about, you know, a little bit of money that's lost, as long as I can get a sell mission. That's going to be a lot easier than like taking, you know, 4 vehicles into like 20 different spots and then making drop-offs and things like that. So here we go right here. I'm over at the marijuana shop right now. It's not completely full, doesn't matter. We're just going to go ahead and set this up real quick, and we're just going to go ahead and do a sell mission. So we got a little bit of stock here, so we're just going to go ahead and do a sell mission right here. $299,000. Just pay attention to that money right now, because we're probably going to end up losing some money depending on what like sell vehicles it ends up giving me here. Alright, so it looks like on the mini map there's 2 vehicles right there. So right there, that's not even good. I don't want 2 sell vehicles. Let's see what they are real quick. They're trash trucks, which is absolutely trash right there. So I don't want the 2 trash trucks. I'm just going to have multiple locations that I'm going to have to drop stuff off to. That's going to be a lot of time. So I'm going to go ahead and like not do that. So what we're going to need to do is pop open our interaction menu and make sure we have our spawn location set to last location. So from here, I'm just going to find a new session, brand new invite-only session. That's going to cancel the sell mission, but by like doing this, I'm going to end up losing some money. I'm going to end up losing probably about $17,000+ each time that I ended up doing this. And depending on what business and how much stock that you have there, you know, you're going to be like, you know, how many times you do this, you could potentially lose a lot of money. But for me personally, we're just going to go ahead and try this again, because I think that it's going to be more, you know, worth it in the long run, because I don't care. I have enough money to invest back into my businesses, and I want to make the sell missions as easy as possible. So here we go. This is the second time for me starting this up, and I can already see on the mini map right there, I already have 1 sell vehicle, and I only have to take this to 1 location, and then this mission is complete. So from there, you can be doing this with each and every single one of your MC businesses if you don't have anybody to help you, and you just like doing these in an invite-only session. Sometimes you can get something like 4 fights or something like that, and that's a little bit challenging. Not like you can't do these particular, but the idea is filling this up and making as much money as possible. And with the 1 vehicle sell missions, I think like this makes it a little bit, you know, better. Even though I did take a little bit of a dip on the cash right there, but it only took me 1 try to be able to just find a new session and then be able to get this, I would say, 1 sell vehicle with the 1-stop drop too. So not with like multiple drop locations, we just have the 1 right there. So there we go. Made it super easy, except for the fact that I was super high the whole time that we were doing this. But hey, it's a marijuana business, and you gotta, you know, take the risk for reward there. Oh hey, ended up ranking up as well. Just now that double cash and double RP this week alone. So this is how we're going to be getting that 1 vehicle sell mission here in Grand Theft Auto. So don't forget to hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe for new content, of course, if you're new here on the channel, so you don't miss out on daily Grand Theft Auto 5 online videos. Over there, we also have a ton of more videos to help you out here in the game. And thanks for watching and supporting the channel. My name is Craigsight, and I'll see you in the next one. So peace.
Boys, it's hard, man. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the best locations for all of the businesses within GTA Online, as well as some other key properties that you'll want or need to own depending on what you want to do in online. I tried to keep the price in mind, as well as the proximity to other businesses, as well as the general most useful locations for each of the businesses that we're going to be going over today in mind for this video. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the CEO office, followed by CEO Cargo. For your CEO office, I recommend getting the Arcadius Business Center for $2,250,000. Now, everybody says that Maze Bank is somehow the best, and I don't really understand this, because if you're coming from 2 or 3 directions, you're going to have to make a pretty insane turn to be able to go up the ramp all the way into the Maze Bank Tower, when you could literally just be at Arcadius, which is like right beside it, and just literally drive there. You don't have to go up a ramp. You don't have to do anything as extreme as getting into the Maze Bank Tower. You simply drive up to the front of Arcadius Business Center, and you can go ahead and hop in the front door, or of course you can go in through a garage. The garage, by the way, is very protected from oppressors and jets and things like that, because it is an underground parking lot. So you go in here and you've got some safety before you even get into the place. Whereas with Maze Bank Tower, you can get massacred while you're trying to get up there, especially when you have to go all the way to the ramp, go all the way up the ramp, and then go into the garage. This makes a lot more sense. The Arcadius Business Center is also nearly $2 billion cheaper than the Maze Bank Tower, so I just don't see the advantage of Maze Bank, honestly. I think the Arcadius Business Center is absolutely phenomenal. It's definitely the one that I would recommend. As far as your CEO Cargo warehouses, I've picked the 5 that I think are the best locations. In fact, I actually own most of these on both of my characters, on console and on PC. All of the CEO Cargo warehouses that I've selected for this are large warehouses, because there's no point in getting a medium warehouse or a small warehouse. You should always get a large. The first one that I would recommend is the Darnell Bros warehouse for $3.5 million. The second warehouse that I would recommend is the Logistics Depot warehouse for $2,600,000. The third warehouse is the Wholesale Furniture warehouse for $1,900,000. The fourth large warehouse that I would recommend is the Cypress warehouses for $3,265,000. And the last one is the Walker & Sons warehouse for $3,040,000. These are in a very nice line. You start at the top, go talk to one of your employees within your CEO Cargo warehouse, source some cargo, go to the next one, rinse and repeat, go through all of them, and then it's so easy because you don't have to go across the city, 5 times. They're all literally in a line. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In a straight line, it's very easy to do this. Definitely what I would recommend doing is getting these 5 large CEO Cargo warehouses. I own most of these. The only one that I don't own, I believe, is the Darnell Bros warehouse, but I'm actually planning on changing that because I have the one at the airport on my Xbox character. I'm going to switch the airport one to the Darnell Bros warehouse because it just makes way more sense. It's so much closer. But yeah, make sure you have your CEO Cargo warehouses lined up in a row like this. These are the best locations. They're all large warehouses as well, so really they are the best ones to own. Now, as for import-export vehicle warehouses, Murrieta Heights for $2,850,000 is closest to both of the eastern side of the map highways, which means you're going to be able to source cars a lot faster, and your sale missions are going to be a lot closer as well. Now, there is a cheaper alternative called La Mesa for $1,500,000, so almost half the price. However, what I don't like about this location is obviously it's a little bit further away, but also it's in a gang territory, and there's a bunch of gang members around. So if you're driving the car to there, or if you're leaving your import-export warehouse and you hit a gang member, or maybe your car backfires, or maybe you're driving too fast, they might shoot at you, causing you to lose some of the value of your car before you get it to your warehouse, and also when you're leaving. So this is kind of less than ideal. So I think for this reason, the Murrieta Heights $2.85 million warehouse is the best one. I personally have the one that's closer to the airport because it's also close to the highways, but it is a lot further down on the map, so honestly it probably isn't the best location, and I think I am going to switch it to Murrieta Heights. So that's it for everything to do with the CEO, whether it's cargo or import-export. Those are the best locations to own. Now we're going to talk about the agency. Now for the agency, there's 2 locations that I would recommend. Now I personally have the Little Seoul agency, which goes for $2,010,000. It's in a pretty good location. It's very central. It's very close to all my other businesses and things like that. So I really like this location. However, the Hawick location for $2,008,000. It's in a pretty good location. It's very central. It's very close to all my other businesses and things like that. So I really like this location. However, the Hawick location for $2,830,000 does have a case to be made. It is very, very close to Tequila La. However, it is a little bit further from the Vanilla Unicorn, whereas Little Soul is a little bit closer to both of them, and that's one of the easiest missions, the Recover Valuables security contract. So I think the Little Soul is a little bit better because it's $820,000 cheaper, and it's very central still. Hawick, you have to drive up into the Vinewood Hills, which isn't the end of the world, but I just feel like the Little Soul agency is actually the better spot to be at for sure. So that's it for the agency. I would recommend Little Soul, but Hawick is also a pretty good location. And for the arcade, Videogeddon La Mesa is my personal favorite choice here. It goes for $1,875,000, and it gives me easy access to some of my other businesses that are in the area. If you didn't know, the arcade has the master control terminal within it, which allows you to resupply all your businesses from one location, as well as source CEO cargo from there, and a few other things. I really like the Videogeddon La Mesa location because it's just so close to my nightclub and my Longhand Online Cash Loadout. Auto shop, and I think it makes the most sense to own. However, there are some other good locations for the arcade. I just think this one works best for me and the way that I have everything set up and how I would recommend for you to set things up. Next up for the auto shop, I have the Mission Row Auto Shop. Now, the Mission Row Auto Shop is very, very good, and it's very close to my arcade. However, you could also argue that you could get the auto shop just above the arcade on the map. My auto shop costs $1,670,000, which I think is a pretty fair price, and it's also very close to my nightclub, which is why I bought this particular auto shop. It's very easy to get to the highway from here as well, and to cross over to go to the east and west sides of the map. However, I definitely can see a case to be made for the other auto shop that's just above the arcade. Like I said, you could definitely go ahead and pick that one up and then get the arcade that's just a little bit lower down in the map as well. We're going to talk about this a little bit later, but yeah, this is the auto shop that I recommend, Mission Row. As far as the bunker goes, the best bunker to own is the Farmhouse Bunker for $2,375,000. Now, people will tell you that Chumash is a good bunker, and I have come to learn, as a former Chumash superiority person, that Chumash is not very good. The reason that Chumash is not very good is because you have huge mountains to your left, forcing you to either climb up a hill in a relatively slow vehicle to get to your cell locations or your bunker, or you could go down the highway, but the highway takes you way out of the way to come back to where you actually need to go. The farmhouse is very simple. You just simply go down from the farmhouse to wherever your sale location is. It's super easy. The Farmhouse Bunker is by far the best bunker to own in Grand Theft Auto Online. No contest at all. The Farmhouse is the absolute goat. Now, yes, you can save like $600,000 by buying the Chumash bunker, but it's not really worth it. Save up the extra money and get the Farmhouse Bunker. It really is the better location. It makes sale missions so much easier. Resupply missions are easier, and the ammunition deliveries are also by far closer with the Farmhouse Bunker. That's pretty much it for the bunker location. Let's talk about the hangar. As far as the hangar goes, there's really only 3 locations that you should even consider, and those are all of the 3 hangars that are in the Fort Zancudo military base, because the reason you own these is to grant you access to that military base. You can go into the military base without getting any stars. This also means that on other sale missions for other businesses, you can fly over top of the military base instead of having to go around to the left or right, and you can also just fly right over it if, say, you're going to Paleto Bay, or you're coming down from Paleto Bay to the city. The hangar that I recommend the most at Fort Zancudo is Fort Zancudo 3497. It is the cheapest of the hangars, and it's also the closest to the center of the map, so I feel like for that reason it is the best. Honestly, any of them are really good, though. If you want to get the most expensive one, go for it for sure, but I think that 3497 is kind of the way to go. But make sure that you get a hangar at the military base. The ones in the city are not worth owning, that's for sure. For the facility GTA Online, the best one to own when you're doing the Doomsday stuff is the Ron Alternate's Wind Farm facility for $1,855,000. It's the best location for doing all of the setup missions, and it's very close to the center of the map, honestly. You know, it's a little bit annoying to go up the hill to the wind farm, but beyond that, it is just the best location because it's is very central. It is a little off to the right, but it is a very central location. And it's close to most of the stores and missions, and you've got two highways that merge right in front of it. So you have a very quick way to get there. So if you're looking to get the best facility location, look no further than the Ron Ultimate Wind Farm. As far as the nightclub goes, I have selected the Mission Row nightclub. Now, this is one that I personally own on both of my characters. It goes for $1,440,000, which is relatively cheap. Now, there are a lot of great locations. As I said earlier, you could get the nightclub just right below where my arcade is, and then have the auto shop right above it, so all three businesses are in a line just like that. However, I personally like to have my nightclub in the actual city on the left-hand side of the storm drain. Same with my auto shop, because it is very close to a lot of my other businesses that I have. I also like the Mission Row nightclub because there is a degree of safety when you are going into the garage of this nightclub. You are protected by some pretty tall buildings that surround it, making it a little bit easier if you're getting chased to actually make it into your nightclub, because if somebody's chasing you in a jet or an oppressor or anything like that, it's going to be a little bit harder for them to navigate in there and try to get a shot on you. That's the reason I really like this nightclub. Also, it's very close to the highway, so you can just quickly get on the highway for most of the sale missions. Overall, this nightclub is definitely my favorite. There is a case to be made for the Vinewood nightclub as well, but I personally think that it's annoying because it literally starts out on a hill, and for some of the nightclub sale missions, you have to go back down into the city downhill, only to go back uphill to go out to Grapeseed or Sandy Shores, wherever your delivery missions are. And a lot of the nightclub vehicles are pretty slow when it comes to going up hills. So I personally recommend the Mission Row nightclub. I think that it is the best nightclub to own. There you have it. Next up for the MC Clubhouse, this kind of ties into my nightclub choice. My MC Clubhouse of choice is the Pillbox Hill MC Clubhouse for $455,000. It's central, it's in the middle of the city. It's also very close to the Mission Row nightclub, as well as the Mission Row auto shop. So very close to both of those things. And if you pick the Little Soul Agency, it's also very close to there, meaning that it's very good. It's also extremely close to all of the CEO cargo warehouses that I showed you guys. So I think that this really is the best location. And of course, because of its central location, it makes the motorcycle customer delivery missions go by very quick, because they're all very nearby. Now, of course, we have to talk about the actual MC businesses. Now, if you plan on just having the MC businesses purely for your nightclub basement to make you money passively, and you don't plan on actually running your MC businesses yourself, meaning that you supply them and then you sell the individual businesses, the ones that you should buy are the cheapest ones possible. Wherever they're cheapest, you just buy them. You also do not need to upgrade these businesses if you plan on just earning the money passively in your nightclub. However, if you are going to actually run these businesses, you will need to put the upgrades on them to make the most amount of money possible. And before we get into this, don't buy the document forgery app. I'm going to tell you guys where the best location is for the document forgery, but please do not buy the document forgery business. It is not worth your time to actually run it. And I don't care what you say about the nightclub basement, it's not even worth buying it for the nightclub basement. Just don't buy the document forgery app. I'm going to tell you guys where the best location is for the document forgery, but please do not buy the document forgery business. It is not worth your time to actually run it. And I don't care what you say about the nightclub basement, it's not even worth buying it for the nightclub basement. Just skip out on document forgery altogether. To start out with, for the baking soda or the sugar factory, for most players, the Alamo C location for $975,000 will be the best location. It's pretty central, and it is close to two of the other best locations for the MC businesses. However, I personally own the Morningwood location, which is close to Del Perro, and this location is very convenient. It makes it easy to get to from some of my other businesses that are located in the city. But the Morningwood location is actually pretty good, but it does cost nearly double of the Alamo C location cost. So, for most players, I recommend the Alamo C location. However, if you're trying to be as efficient as possible, I think Morningwood is the best one to own, because you can do a trade-off. And I'll explain that again later, but let's talk about the next one. For the Breaking Bad lab, or the Crystal Lab, the Grand Senora Desert location is the best. It costs $910,000, and it's literally dead center of the map. Like, you basically can't get any more dead center than this. I've also owned the lab near the oil pumps in Los Santos, and it's extremely far away from all the sale missions. It's very close to the highway, but it's just so far away that it's really not worth having it. And it costs a ton more money. So if you're going for a lab, you need to get the Grand Sonora Desert one, it is the best location. Next up for the counterfeit cash business, the best location for this one is the Grand Sonora Desert location for $845,000. It's very close to the lab, which means you can go between them very, very quickly. Now, I've owned both of the LS and the Blaine County ones. The LS one is down by the beach, and it is just simply way too far away. So the regular counterfeit cash location in the Grand Sonora Desert is actually the best location. Very central, very easy to get to. Honestly, very good. Now for the weed farm, the best location to own is the downtown Vinewood location for $1,358,500. And it is very central. It's actually just below the lab and the counterfeit cash business. So it's very close to the two of them. And to talk about what I was explaining earlier, with the weed farm, you start your sale mission, you end up in Blaine County, because that's where all the drop-offs are. Then you go to counterfeit cash, do that sale mission, you'll end back up in the city. Then go to your trigger lockup when you're back in the city from the counterfeit cash sale. Do that, you're going to end up back in Blaine County. Then do your lab sale, and you're going to end up back in Los Santos. It's the most efficient way to do it, and it makes the most sense. As far as the document forgery location, the best one is the city location. It's pretty central. The other one is all the way up in Grapeseed, which is just simply too far away. The city location for the document forgery is also right off of the main highway, so it's very easy to go and do your sale missions. God forbid if you do actually have a document forgery office. So there you go, guys. That is it for all of the best business locations for each business in Grand Theft Auto Online, as well as the best location for the facility. The facility technically isn't a business, but it is definitely a good property to own, so I figured I should probably include it in this video. Anyway, guys, what are some of your favorite locations for your businesses?
Oh, we're not sad. We're just excited for December 11th, 8 p.m. for Shopee's Mega Sulubog 6.
Yo, what's up guys, my name's Hacky, and in this video we're going to take a look at the best locations for all the different businesses we have in GTA Online. The locations of these businesses are pretty important at the end of the day, just because some of the missions are going to be a lot more convenient in certain places, so you definitely want to know where you should be at when it comes to this. So without any more wait, let's get straight into it, starting with the CEO offices. There's 4 different locations for the CEO offices. The most expensive one is the Maze Bank Tower, the tallest tower in the whole game. Then we have the Arcadius Business Center, which is this black one. We also have Maze Bank West, which is going to be closer to the beach over there. Let's actually go into the website and I'll show you guys. Inside of Dynasty 8 Executive, we have a couple different locations. So there's Maze Bank Tower in Arcadius. Then we have Maze Bank West, which is pretty close to the beach, as you guys can see. And then the closest one to the beach is Long Bank West. I don't recommend this location as much. At this current moment, I have Maze Bank West, but I do recommend getting the Arcadius one. That is the best one if you ask me personally. And as you can tell, the Arcadius is pretty close to the Maze Bank Tower. Now, the reason I don't like the Maze Bank Tower as much is because of the bad entrance you have. To get to the Maze Bank Tower, let's say you're on this main road, you have to go all the way over here and then go back and go up this road to actually get to the entrance. It's just been a pretty inconvenient location to get to this place because you have to go up these roads to actually get to this location, just because this part's a little elevated, so it's not very convenient. But if you go to the Arcadius, which is basically in the same exact location, it's in the dead middle of downtown, and you don't have to go on any special elevated roads to actually get to this entrance. It's pretty convenient. You can either go through the main entrance, which is right here, this is the walk-in entrance, or the garage entrance is actually very cool in my opinion. You can go either through this side or through that side, wherever you're coming from, and this garage entrance is pretty cool, I have to say. It's in this like underground parking garage, so it's actually very safe to come in through here if you're running away from an oppressor or something like that, and then you just drive through here into your office garages. This entrance overall, I prefer it much more than the Maze Bank Tower one. It's easier to get through, I think it looks super cool, and it's basically in the same location as I said. So if you're looking to be in the dead middle of downtown, definitely go for the Arcadius Business Center. It is cheaper than the Maze Bank Tower, so if you ask me, it's a no-brainer. You should definitely go for the Arcadius one. I don't know why so many people have the Maze Bank Tower. I guess just because it's the most expensive, people just like to go for that one. But the second best option is the Maze Bank West one. So it's not the Maze Bank Tower. This is the Maze Bank West location, which I actually own myself. It's closer to the beach. It's really up to personal preference, whether you're looking to have your CEO office closer to the beach over here on the west side of town, or if you're someone that prefers to be in the dead middle
as I just said, definitely go for the Arcadius. But Maze Bank West is another pretty good one. It's way cheaper than Maze Bank Tower over there. The entrance of this place is extremely easy to get to. It doesn't have any elevated roads. It's just on this main street right here. Then the garage entrance is also right next to the main street. It's just over here. It's very easy to get inside of. In the past, I've really switched back and forth between the Maze Bank West one and the Arcadius one just because I can't really decide which location I like better. There's pros and cons to being closer to the beach on the west side of town, and then of course there's also pros to being in the center of downtown as well. So depending on how much money you have and depending on your location preference, either the Arcadius or the Maze Bank West one. Let's move on to the next business now. Those are going to be the agencies, which are going to be on the same website as buying a CEO office. So I have this one, which is Howard one. It's a bit farther than the other three. I believe this is the most expensive one as well. It's going to be kind of like towards the top right corner of the city, not too far away from the casino basically. Now this location is a little more convenient if you want to do the contract type or some of the security contracts. This location is a little closer, but if you're looking for the most affordable one, definitely go for the Little Seoul location. Not only is it the cheapest out of all four agencies, but it's in a pretty fantastic location. It's not in the dead center of downtown, but it's actually in a very nice spot anyway. It's in between downtown Los Santos and the west side of town, which I actually think is super convenient. This is one of the best located businesses in the game, and those two are, in my opinion, the best locations. This is the Howard one that I own. It's basically right on this like main street right here. It's pretty accessible. Here's the walk-in entrance and of course the garage entrance. And now if you head to Little Seoul, the garage entrance is going to be from over here. This is the Howard one that I own. It's basically right on this like main street right here. It's pretty accessible. Here's the walk-in entrance and of course the garage entrance. And now if you head to Little Seoul, the garage entrance is going to be from over here, which is on a main street, so it's pretty convenient. The walk-in entrance is going to be all the way over here, so you do need to go up some stairs, but it's not really the end of the world. Let's move on to the auto shop. This central location is hands down the best location. It's a little north of downtown, but still in a very convenient spot. Wherever you want to go, it's not going to be too far away, whether it's towards the beach to your CEO office, or if you have a CEO office in downtown. There's 5 total locations you guys can pick. All of them are in the city. Another popular one I've seen a lot of people get is this one for $1.67 million, the Mission Row one. Well, Mesa is most expensive, and then Burton is the second most expensive. It's just over $1.8 million. Not any huge.
Wala, mag-rounds na ako. Sayang, malinis mo mga favorites ko.
Ang inaabangan mo tuwing Pasko, hindi nagbabago. Diba ang sarap ng pagsubing monte?
Alam mo ba na pwede kang magdasal sa loob ng 1 minuto? Gaano ka mo kabisi, ano man ang iyong pinagdadaanan, ano man ang iyong trabaho mo, nasaan ka man, laging may panalangin na para sa iyo. Subukan ng Halo, ang #1 Catholic prayer and meditation app sa buong mundo at sa buong Pilipinas. Guys, subukan natin yung mga minute prayers, yung mga pag-rosaryo, at iba pang mga debosyon at novena na matatagpuan sa app. At tuklasan ang higit sa 2,000 taong tradisyon ng ating mananampalatayang Kristiyano.
And in fact, the differences between the prices of these auto shops, between the cheapest and the most expensive one, it's only like $300,000. Despite La Mesa being in the best location, I don't recommend it the most. The Mission Row one, which is just under $1.7 million, I would say is the most worth it for a pretty good location. The Rancho one and the Strawberry one, they're a little more expensive, but there's no reason to get them. I don't think being a little more sell all that much. And for the auto shop contract, I remember doing $2 for a good amount. So this one would probably be a pretty convenient location, the first one. Ultimately, the Mission Row one and the Burton one are going to be my go-to for this. Not the absolute most accessible, but considering you're paying for the cheapest, I definitely think it's in a solid spot overall if we actually look at the full map. Now for the arcade, this one's kind of an interesting one just because we have 4 locations in the city and then we have 2 more basically in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Even though these two, one in Grapeseed and then one in Toledo, Toledo Bay, even though these two are a bit cheaper, understandably, just because they're in a very remote spot. Instead, I would recommend actually spending a few more $100,000 and getting this one, the La Mesa location, which is actually very close to the auto shop one that we just talked about. It's $1,875,000, and it's in a decent spot in the city. This one's going to be, I believe, the cheapest option out of all the arcades in the city. As you can see, this one, that's a big south, is $2.1 million, over 2.1, and then this one is 2.35 million. So if you're looking for the most bang for your buck one, I would definitely recommend the La Mesa location. But for people that want to go all out with it or just have a lot of money, this location that I already own is actually a very, very good one. In my opinion, the best location out of all of these in Pinewood. But with that being said, again, this is the more pricey one. It's about $2.5 million, which is the most expensive option out of all the arcades, but location-wise, it is the best one. Now for the motorcycle clubhouses, I own this location, which is very central. It's only a block away from auto shop that we talked about earlier. As we go into the website though, there's a few different good options with this one. The Howick Clubhouse is the one that I own. It's actually very close to the Howick agency that we talked about earlier, which is going to be like right over here somewhere. And with these clubhouses, they're pretty cheap, especially compared to some other businesses that we talked about and we are going to talk about later. Meaning there isn't any dramatic price changes between these. As you can see, $365, $455, $455. So not a super big difference between these. They're all going to be like within $300,000. One in Sandy Shores, which is going to be considerably cheaper. I wouldn't really go and buy these cheaper ones unless you really want to have a location up in like Toledo Bay, just so you have some sort of like safe house up there. Conveniency wise, the best ones are going to be in the city. As we said, the Howard one, and then another location is the Pillbox one for $455,000. It's very centralized, although this one is a little more on the expensive side for a motorcycle clubhouse. Another location I personally really like is this one close to the beach, which is under $400,000. The clubhouses do actually fuel the passive income inside of the nightclub. It's a good segue into our next business, which is going to be the nightclub. So I own the West Vinewood location. It's also in a very centralized spot. I have a lot of different businesses on the top side of the map. So I got West Vinewood nightclub. I have the Burning Auto Shop, it's this MC Clubhouse, and then my arcade up here as well, the Vinewood location. Also, you can't see it on this website, but the agency is somewhere over here as well. I personally really like this area of the map. I think it's a great location for businesses and just properties in general. I mean, I have a property on Eclipse Towers, and then I also have another apartment just down here somewhere. Another great location for the nightclub is the Mission Row nightclub. It's just right up downtown. It's still in between a lot of tall buildings, which could save you from oppressors or thefts and stuff like that if you're getting chased down. And it's not as expensive as some other ones. It's only $1.44 million, which is not bad. If you're looking to save some money and not spend the absolute most possible, but still have a decent location, this one is also another good one. $1.3 million for a nightclub is not bad. If we go to this one up here, it's about $1.65, which is considerably more, even though they're not too far away from each other. Now let's move on to the next business, which is going to be the bunker. Now the farmhouse bunker is my go-to bunker. It's probably the absolute best location out of all bunkers in the game. This one is hands down the best one. It's pretty close to the highway, so if you're looking to go to the city, you just need to off-road a little bit, and then you're on the highway, and then you have a clear path to go into the city. Now a good one to get is also the Toledo Forest bunker. The reason I like this one not only is because it's really cheap compared to a lot of other ones. It's only like $1.1 million. These ones are going to be over $2 million, as you can see. But if you're looking for a very cheap one and are looking to, I guess, diversify your business locations and have one in Toledo Bay, this is a good spot. For the missions, you might need to drive a little more, but I actually think this is a decent price. Then moving into the facilities, I personally own the Grand Sonora Desert one, which is right next to the Sandy Shores Airfield. It's actually a pretty good spot. I really like it. It's rightfully so one of the, if not the most expensive facility we have in the game, but it's understandable because it's in a really centralized location.
Thanks to InDrive, I actually like driving again.
Excuse me, what do you do for a living?
I drive InDrive.
What's InDrive?
The ride sharing app. I switched to it because big apps were taking way too much of my money, and I was getting super inconvenient rides for almost nothing.
So, what's different about InDrive?
It's way more flexible. You can actually negotiate your own price and only accept the rides that you want.
Oh, maybe I should drive for InDrive.
Definitely. There's no acceptance rate, and the registration is super easy.
just because if we're looking at the overall location, it is a really good one, but specifically, I just don't like that it's in between a bunch of mountains. And if you want to get to this location comfortably, you probably need an air vehicle, otherwise driving through these mountains to get to this spot is just a bit of a pain. A good median one between price and location is Plezane 201. It's just under 1.7 million, and it's not too far away from the ones towards Sandy Shores. These more expensive ones are going to be, as you can see, almost $3 million. So about 1.67 million is actually not bad for this location. If you have a lot of money though, I would recommend the Grand Senora Desert one though for sure. Then for the hangars, we have basically two different locations, and they're completely different. Obviously, we have three options in the military base, and then two at LSIA. I decided to have one at LSIA, but I don't blame many people that choose to have it at the military base, just because at that point you get no stars when you go inside of the military base. If you don't have a property in the military base, then anytime you enter the aerospace or just anywhere at all, which is not very convenient. There is actually a sale at the time of this recording, but usually they're going to be about $2-something million. Now, between these hangars that are really close to each other, there's no point to spend that much money, so just go for the cheapest one, which is Hangar 3497. It's just about $2.1 million. It's not worth it to go for these more expensive ones. I mean, 3.25 is just way too much if you ask me. Then a continuation with the CEO office is actually the CEO cargo warehouses, so it's kind of like a business inside of a business property. Getting a large size warehouse is just a lot more worth it in the long run. And out of the large size warehouses, I'm going to show you guys which ones are best. So let's go to the warehouse map and then go into large. Now, for people with a lot of money, the Darnell Bros warehouse for $3.5 million. I know that's a lot of money. This is probably the most convenient location. If you're looking to save money but still have a decent location, the wholesale furniture is probably your best bet. $1.9 million is a lot cheaper than this $3.5 million one. And then a good median one, considering both price and location, the Logistics Depot for 2.6 is a good one. Those three locations are what you should go for when it comes to it. There's also some smaller businesses within the motorcycle clubhouse, but honestly, I just don't own them, and I don't want to tell you information that I don't know enough about. But hopefully you still found this video helpful. I really hope you all enjoyed. If you did, drop a like and subscribe if you are new so you don't miss any more awesome videos like these. And click the video on screen now for the best businesses to own in GTA Online. I hope you all enjoy that video, and peace.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Here we go again. Sabi sa liar starving. Kaya survive natin ngayon, guys. I-question natin to agad para mabilis tayo matapos.
Look at me. Cutting this one won't explode for sure.
Malakas tayo kay Lord, kaya ito sa sabog, guys. Wala lang. Naka-resting dito si Lord, guys. Anyway, sa bago sa malaro ng Liar Tavern, download Weebly on App Store and Google Play. Here's the best flight there.